What's up, Ram fans? Welcome back to the Monday Night Sports Show. I'm Madeline Davis.
And I'm Brendon Fairbairn. Rams soccer and volleyball had busy weekends out in Cali. We'll get you caught up on how they did on their road trips.
Ella's back for another week of Where to Watch. What is she keeping an eye out for this time?
And to end off the night, Hot or Not returns with an MLB Playoff special. All of that and more in CTV Sports starting right now.
After another straight set win to cap off the border war and push the Rams to a 3-0 start to start Mountain West play, CSU volleyball went into their fourth conference match against the Fresno State Bulldogs, let's just say feeling pretty good. But unfortunately for Ram fans though, this added confidence didn't quite translate over to the court, where the road team took a bad L 1-3. Fresno came into Thursday night winless in conference play, and it was clear that they weren't going to let themselves drop to 0-3, doing what they do best and collecting 11 service aces in a season-high 14 blocks. For CSU, redshirt juniors Jackie Van Liefde and Sierra Pritchard came through once again for some strong outings, with Van Liefde grabbing 10 kills and Pritchard securing 35 assists. But with only 5 blocks and a pitiful .133 hitting percentage, it just wasn't enough to gain that fourth conference win. Looking forward, the Rams continue their road trip with a visit to fellow conference rivals Nevada this Thursday at 6 before coming back to Moby for some homecoming festivities. We'll have to see how they respond to this loss. Honestly, I was really surprised that they lost this game.
I was actually thinking the same thing because I really thought they were going to come in and beat Fresno coming off the 3 sweeps. But, you know, when you only have 5 blocks and a .133 hitting percentage, you're not going to win any games like that.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Just wasn't their night, I guess.
Exactly. Switching things up from the court and onto the field, CSU soccer also happened to travel to Fresno State over the weekend. And after another loss, they now find themselves at 1-5 on the season, losing their 3rd straight conference game to the Bulldogs 3-0. Bulldogs sophomore Cassandra Sicca scored the opening goal with a penalty shot in the 19th minute. But after that, the score stayed at 1-0 for most of the match, until Fresno State sealed the victory with back-to-back goals by Sam Tristan and Bailey Kern in the final minutes. Now looking at the bright side, I thought the Rams played a lot better on the offensive side of the ball in this one, tallying 10 total shots and 4 on goal. But the Bulldogs always seem to have an answer, with goalkeeper Valentina Vives going a perfect 4 for 4 on saves. On top of that, fouls really seemed to be a problem for the Rams. They had 11 on the day compared to Fresno State's 7. Not to mention that CSU defender Haley Block received a yellow card in the 53rd minute before being ejected in the final 4 minutes of the game. After another loss, emotions were definitely running high for the Rams, entering Sunday's matchup against San Jose State. Madeline, how'd they do in that yesterday?
Yeah, Brendon, Coach Hagan's team was surely looking to get off the mat after a disappointing start to conference action. And yesterday afternoon, the bounces finally went their way. Now look, the Rams were shut out in their first 3 conference games, so all they wanted to do was just score a goal in this one. But to the excitement of CSU faithful, they came through for a little bit more than that, tacking on 2 goals to secure a 2-1 win, the team's 2nd of the season. Against the Spartans, the Rams were led by senior forward Gracie Armstrong and junior midfielder Caitlin Abrams, who each secured a goal each. Like Brendon said, CSU's offense is steadily improving. With 14 total shots and 7 on goal, surprisingly enough though, San Jose actually had more shots than the Rams did, with 16 total and 6 around the net. But CSU keeper Shayna Ross came through in the clutch, recording 5 saves to limit the Spartans to only 1 goal and secure the win. And with the W, CSU returns back to Fort Collins this week to take on fellow Coloradans, the CC Tigers, this Sunday at 3. Let's see if they can start piling on the wins.
Now onto some pro action. The Denver Broncos didn't exactly have the same success that the Rams did on Sunday, losing their first game of the season to the Baltimore Ravens 23-7. The injury bug bit Denver hard in this one, with starting quarterback Teddy Bridgewater suffering a concussion on the last play of the second half. And Deontay Spencer was ruled out in the second quarter after a chest injury, adding to the long list of injuries to an already depleted Denver receiving corps. Rookie Patrick Surtain also left in the fourth quarter after suffering a chest injury of his own. And even before kickoff on Sunday, both Broncos starting guards were listed as inactive. Dalton Reisner is dealing with an ankle injury, and Graham Glasgow is fighting knee problems. The Ravens took full advantage of this weekend offensive line, hitting Bridgewater 5 times and sacking him twice. Locke was also sacked 3 times in the second half. After a drive in the second quarter that ended in a Noah Fant touchdown catch, the Broncos offense really seemed to be stuck in neutral, only having 250 total yards and going a terrible 3 for 14 on third down. And punter Sam Martin had a busy day, with the Denver punting 10 times on their 12 possessions. To put it in perspective, they only punted 9 times in the first 3 games combined. And the defense didn't have much better of a day, allowing Lamar Jackson to throw for over 300 yards. He's only done that one other time in his career. Now, they were able to hold the Ravens' great rushing attack to only 103 yards. When you give up that much through the air, it really doesn't matter. The only bright spot for the Denver Broncos was Caden Stearns, the 5th-round rookie out of Texas. He sacked Jackson twice, had 3 total tackles, and broke up a pass. Stearns seems to be a solid replacement at strong safety once the Broncos move on from veteran Kareem Jackson, who is only on a 1-year deal. Next week, the Broncos play yet another AFC North opponent, traveling to Heinz Field to take on the struggling 1-3 Pittsburgh Steelers. As a Bronco fan, hopefully they can pick it up. Madeline, I really think the Broncos are struggling just as much as the Steelers. Their offense came out so flat. I really don't think, or if they can get a running game going and their defense could hold the Steelers and their passing attack, they can maybe come out of Heinz Field with a win.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they can. I'm hoping that they can win. I mean, it would just be really fun to see them like 4-1.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good record.
That is a great start. But the AFC North is a hard division. As much as the Steelers are struggling, you can never look past them with Mike Tomlin and, of course, the veteran Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And well, after all of that, it's time for a quick break. When we come back, I'll give you 3 more guys on waivers that you need to pick up. Don't go anywhere.
Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September.
I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs, and that's still not enough to put food on the table.
I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Where I give you my top 3 picks of under-the-radar players so you could pick up to be the best fantasy manager. Let's start things out with Chicago Bears running back Damian Williams, who ended the afternoon with 15 fantasy points on 8 carries for 55 yards and a score to go along with 2 catches for another 15. Williams replaced the injured David Montgomery yesterday afternoon after the star back suffered a knee injury that looked very serious. Initial reports are saying that his test came back negative, but he is going to undergo some more tests throughout the next few days to see the real extent of the damage to his knee. Regardless, Montgomery should miss some playing time, and Williams has put up solid numbers for the Chiefs in the past, so we know he can work as an every down back. It's also good to note that Tariq Cohen is also out until week 7, so Williams is the only real back they'll have in their absences. Right now, he's only owned in 10% of leagues, but I would pick him up right away. He'll be a top waiver pickup bearing any shocking reports about Montgomery's health. And keeping it in the NFC, Jimmy Garoppolo was injured once again, leaving in the first half of yesterday's game against the Seahawks with a calf injury. Electric rookie Trey Lance took over and gave Niners fans a taste of their future. Even though San Fran lost, Lance still had a solid performance with 50% completion percentage, 157 yards passing, and 41 yards rushing to go with 2 touchdown passes, ending the afternoon with 20 fantasy points. Against Seattle, we all caught glimpses of his impressive dual threat potential, even if most of his production came on a blown coverage and in garbage time. And with his huge arm and running ability comes incredible upside in fantasy. He's also lost a lot of has a lot of weapons in San Francisco with George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk to throw to, and a great offensive-minded head coach Kyle Shanahan. Lance is only owned in 19% of leagues right now, but he should be highly targeted pickup this week depending on the Jimmy G news. Even if Garoppolo's test results came back negative, I would still target Lance as a QB2 for depth reasons. Now, to end things off, I know I usually don't talk about tight ends for my waiver wire pickups, but it would be foolish for me not to mention Cowboys tight end Dalton Schultz. He has 3 touchdowns, 138 yards, and 12 receptions in the last 2 games, scoring 26 fantasy points last week and 17.8 in week 4. And the Cowboys have great weapons. They have Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, but Schultz still led the team in targets with 8 and receptions with 6. And the Cowboys definitely have one of the best offenses in the league. Dak Prescott has not lost a step after his terrible leg injury, and Ezekiel Elliott's playing at a very high level, and we all know what their offensive line can do, and they play in such a weak NFC East division. The only good defense in that division is Washington, and the Bills absolutely exposed them in Week 3. I expect the Cowboys to do that when they play. And speaking of NFC East matchups, the Cowboys take on the Giants next week, who allow the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends, so Schultz is going to be a high streaming option for Week 5. And the crazy thing that blows my mind is that Schultz is only owned in 20% of leagues, but is rated the 5th best tight end. That absolutely blows my mind. But tight ends are very hard to come by, and finding one on waivers is like finding a 4-leaf clover. Go and pick up Schultz right now because he's likely better than the tight end option currently on your roster. Now, if you want 3 more waiver wire additions for your team this week, check out my weekly article for the Collegian that is published online on Wednesdays and in print on Thursdays. Hey, if I had all the time, I could talk about fantasy football all day. But we do have to take a short break. Don't go anywhere just yet. Ella is going to be right here to give you all the sporting news and events coming up.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
What's up, my fellow Rams? I'm Ella Fredrickson. It's so nice to be back with all of you this week on Where to Watch. We have so much to talk about, so let's just get into it. With the crazy week of pro sports we just finished and just as much excitement coming up, being able to say that I'm starting off with some NBA news leaves me so stoked for the league's 75th season, which is scheduled to begin regular season play on October 19th. Now, the top contenders are to be expected with the Milwaukee Bucks, Brooklyn Nets, and LA Lakers all predicted to have incredible seasons. Obviously, it's super early, but with the schedule for the upcoming season already announced, it's safe to say that these teams are going to easily clear 50 wins. Besides those main forces, though, other up-and-coming teams are a little bit harder to read. But I feel like my hometown Bulls have the talent to find a lot of success this year. Now, for the sake of the show, what to pay attention to is whether new acquisitions DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, and Nikola Vucevic, as well as returner Zach LaVine, are going to create chemistry together on the court. And looking at the local squad after a heartbreaking end to Denver's season last year, reigning MVP Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets are looking to come back full speed. Whether they can surpass the 50-win mark will be largely impacted by the return of Jamal Murray and how he's able to adjust after tearing his ACL all the way back in April. The next time I join Madeline and Brendon here, we can dive more into NBA specifics on what to look forward to and maybe even some possible playoff predictions. Moving on to some more sporting news, the NFL season is flying by. I mean, we are already wrapping up week 4. But while it was another great Sunday of action, Tom Brady's return to Foxborough was the main event. entering New England needing just 68 passing yards to set a new NFL record. Oh, and in true TB12 fashion, he just so happened to get the opportunity to do it against the team he played for 20 seasons, beating Drew Brees and his record in hardly any time at all, midway through the first quarter. Some salty Colts fans even tried to go as far as saying the ref moved the ball a yard for him and that he deflated footballs. Come on, it was 2014, guys. Let it go. But moving on, Buffalo's decision to terrorize yet another team in Week 4 leads me to my game to watch for Week 5. Bills vs. Chiefs in Arrowhead on Sunday Night Football. Both squads have proved themselves to be the offensive juggernauts we expected them to be, both surpassing 40 points in Week 4. The difference? The Bills pitched a shutout, while KC let the Eagles get within one possession, continuing their defensive struggles with 32 points allowed. If Kansas City wants any chance of coming away with this win at home, they have to fix their leaky defense, and fast. Mahomes and that offense just need a few stops here and there. And Rams, while I might just be a tad bit biased, I saved the most exciting news for last. The MLB postseason starts tomorrow. So who starts it off, you might ask? My boys from Boston, who face their hated rival, the Yankees, at Fenway Park for the AL wildcard title and a trip to the ALDS, where one of those teams will face their division leader, the Tampa Bay Rays. Regardless of the fact that the MLB season is a massive 162 games, the Sox and Yanks managed to bring it down to the very end, leaving the home field advantage up to a single game. Both squads ended with a record of 92-70, leaving the location of the game up to the series record of 19 games played against each other this year. The Red Sox won 10 out of 19 games, so the game will be played in Fenway, just barely. And again, I cannot stress this enough. 162 games, and it came down to a single matchup. Something like that would definitely only happen to these two teams. And with that, that's all I have tonight. But don't leave just yet, Ram fans. After the break, join Madeline, Brendon, and I for some more MLB playoff talk in Hot or Not.
Queen is just my everything. Right now, I wouldn't know where my life would be without her.
They say chivalry's dead. It's not. Terrence is a gentleman. He opens doors. His smile did it. His smile, his eyes, his knowledge. My landlord, he decided that he wanted me to move based on the fact that I was transgender. It takes me to a place of no hope. It takes me to a place of loneliness. It saddens me. When you discriminate against somebody in housing, where do these people go? Let's just respect people in everyday life for just being human.
Welcome back, Ram fans, and to this special edition of Hot or Not. Like Ella just told you, the MLB playoffs start tomorrow night with the Red Sox taking on the Yankees in the AL wildcard. So we thought it would be fitting if Madeline gave her playoff predictions while Ella and I would give our live predictions to her picks. Madeline, who do you have going to the World Series in the AL?
Well, Brendon, I'm so glad you asked. So, starting off in the AL with the wild card game, I do believe that the Yankees are going to take this one out. Did I say this just to get a rise out of Ella? Maybe. But I do think it could go either way. But in the end, when it comes down to Nathan Eovaldi and Garrett Cole, I do think that Garrett Cole's just a little bit better. But after that one game, I don't think either of those teams would even have a chance against Tampa Bay. So that just puts me at a quick just Tampa Bay to the ALCS. I don't even have to do an explanation for that one. And then moving on to the White Sox and the Astros, I think that this could be a good matchup. I definitely think it's going to be a little bit more even than Tampa Bay and the Yankees. But I do think that the White Sox are probably the weakest team in perhaps this whole bracket just because the AL Central is just not very strong. So I do think that Houston's going to take that game. And then coming down to Tampa Bay and Houston, I think that, again, this could be a really good matchup. I think that Houston has some very good players, and I think that Tampa Bay does as well. But I think that just the fact that Tampa Bay surpassed 100 wins in a division that had 4 teams over 90, I just think that Tampa Bay's too good. What do you guys think about my picks?
Well, Madeline, I do agree. I hate to say this, Ella. I do agree that the Red Sox are going to lose to the Yankees. They have one of the best power hitters. They have Aaron Judge and Stanton. And she made a good point. Like, they're not going to beat the Rays.
Honestly, Brendon, as much as I would like to say I think the Red Sox are going to win, without Chris Sale on the mound against Garrett Cole, I don't see it happening. Our defense is arguably one of the worst in the MLB, and against Garrett Cole, I don't think our offense is going to be able to pull off enough runs to get us the win.
Yeah, I agree. Chapman on the Yankees, he has one of the worst earned run averages since 2011, 3.36. So that's something going.
It's something.
But yeah, Madeline, you had a great point. The Rays are probably going to go all the way. Like Houston, as long as they keep it clean, I really think they can't really beat the Rays. So who do you have going, Rays or Astros?
Yeah, I really think the Astros are going to have no problem destroying the White Sox. The White Sox come from a horrible division, and I just don't think they're a strong team. They didn't face many strong teams in the regular season, and the few that they did, they really struggled against. We saw them against the Red Sox. That series didn't go too hot for the White Sox. And against a team like Houston that is consistently good on offense and defense, they're not going to be able to hold up.
Yeah, well, I know I said the Yankees are going to win. But it is a close series. Like you said, it only came down to one game. But, I think the AL is a lot easier to call than the NL. That's just my opinion. So, Madeline, who do you have in the NL going all the way?
Well, I'm even more glad that you asked about my NL predictions because the NL is actually the division that I care about. So, starting off with the Dodgers and the Cardinals. As much as I want both of these teams to lose because I hate the Dodgers and I don't want Nolan to have that glimpse of success, at least not yet. I want him to have it eventually, just not the immediate season after he leaves my team. And so deep down, I'm choosing the Cardinals, but logistically, I have to choose the Dodgers. If this was a 5-game series, I'd choose the Cardinals. With their hot streak, I don't have any doubts about that. But with Max Scherzer on the mound against Adam Wainwright, I gotta go with the Dodgers. And I love a good rivalry, which leads us to San Francisco and the Dodgers. And again, I just think that San Francisco's too good. They pushed the Dodgers until the very end. You can say all you want about the Dodgers sweeping the Brewers, but the Brewers clinched ages ago. The Dodgers were playing for the NL West title literally until yesterday. And I just think that the Giants, their rotation is really good, and with the Dodgers putting Max Scherzer in for the wild card game, they're not going to be able to pitch him until probably game 3 or 4, if it even goes that far. And the Giants did take the head-to-head this season, and they played a lot better at home, so I'm going with the Giants. And then when it comes to the Brewers and the Braves, I do think the Brewers are going to take it. The Braves are obviously the weakest team in this division. They didn't even play 162 games this year. They only played 161. So they didn't even get a full season. Not that it mattered. One game wasn't going to change anything. But still, I do think that the Brewers are going to take it. And then when it comes to the Giants and the Brewers, personally, I think this is the matchup to watch. I think that this could potentially be better than the World Series, if I'm being real here, because I think the Brewers easily have the best rotation out of any of these teams, and they have a really good bullpen. They have probably the best closer in the league right now. So I think that it'll be good, but I think that the Giants were just too consistent, and winning 106 games, that's crazy. And everybody kept saying, oh, they're going to tank, and they didn't tank. So why would they tank now? I just think the Giants are too good, which leads me to my World Series game, which is the Giants and the Rays. And while I would love to see the Rays get some redemption, especially after they lost to my least favorite team ever, I just think that the Giants are too good. And I do think that the NL is a lot stronger than the AL, and the NL West is easily the best division in baseball. So I got to take the Giants, and I think I'm going to take the Giants in 6. What do you guys think about that?
Madeline, you sound a little salty about the Nolan trade, but I will not hold that against you right now. I do agree the Dodgers are going to beat the Cardinals. I think that's a given, and you had a lot of great points about the Giants. The Dodgers are having a lot of pitching problems right now, so I could easily see the Giants going all the way and winning it. I mean, that one's an easy one to call. What do you think, at least with the Dodgers and Giants?
As strong as the Dodgers can be, I mean, I don't even know if I can pick out a weakness on that team. The Giants were predicted only 72 wins on the season, and while, yes, they did win 72 games, they happened to win 30 more than that. I just do not see that team slowing down anytime soon, and I think they will take that World Series championship easily.
Yeah, like the Dodgers, they had 106 wins. They're not that far behind. They had the most wins in wild card history. But, Madeline, there's one thing I do disagree on you. I think the Braves are going to beat the Brewers. I really do. I think they have such a great offense. They have, Madeline, hear me out. Hey, hold on.
I need to hear.
Yes, hear me out on this. They have the second best away record, and they split the series with the Brewers 3-3. And just to throw this on you, they have 3 30 home run batters.
Okay.
See?
Yeah, but like, where's Ronald Acuna Jr.? Hurt. So, they have some good players, but look at the Brewers pitching compared to the Braves. Like, the Brewers obviously have a better rotation,
yeah.
and as we know, pitching wins games. Offense can do a lot, but if your pitching is good, if you have a good starting rotation and you have a good bullpen, which the Brewers do, they're easily going to take that.
Okay, yeah, those are solid points, but you do have solid players. They have Austin Riley, like you said, Eddie Rosario, and Acuna. And Freeman just won the NL MVP just last year.
In a 60-game season.
So please, okay, that is true, but he still won it. It still counts. Ella, back me up on this, please.
Brendon, I wish I could. I just cannot. The Braves, to me, are like the White Sox in the AL. They're not a strong team.
Oh.
The Brewers have proved themselves time and time again, and I'm going to have to agree with Madeline on this one. The Braves do not stand a chance.
Okay, I know pitching wins, World Series, all that, but offense is going to get it done. The Braves have one of the best offenses in the league, and like I said, one of the best away records. Them going to Milwaukee is not going to matter. I know it's only a 5-game series, but I have the Braves going, not all the way, obviously. That's a big of a stretch.
Was about to stop you there.
Yeah, I mean, you'd probably have to slap me right here if I said that. But you really think it's that much of a stretch that the Braves cannot beat the Brewers?
Yeah.
I'll emphasize what I said before. No matter who comes out of that series alive, neither of those teams can beat the San Francisco Giants. And I stand by that.
What if they take them all the way to 7? Do you think they can go all the way to 7?
I do not.
Anything could happen in baseball. Anything could happen in
think...
baseball. You guys are making me want to take the Braves, go all the way.
I agree with Madeline's picks. But
if you say the Braves win, if they win, I'll give you money.
How much? That's the real question, is how much?
$20.
You know me, I love to gamble, so how much?
I'll double that, $20.
20?
If the Braves, yeah.
I don't have the budget for that.
I'll throw in 20.
Okay, all right. So I don't have to give you anything, right? Because, I know it's a big of a stretch.
You know the Braves are going to lose.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know that. I mean, it's a stretch, but I really think they have such a great offense. Like 3 30 home run hitters. Like, you guys got to, that's impressive.
Hey, my Red Sox have a good offense and a horrible defense, and they are fighting for their lives in the wild card right now. So offense does not get you everywhere.
I know. So I guess we'll have to see. I'm really excited for the playoffs. I really, really am. So we'll just have to see how Madeline's picks really, really stack up. Like I said, I am sticking with the Braves. That's just me. And do you have the Giants going all the way and winning it? Is that?
I do.
Okay.
Yes.
With the Rays.
With the Rays, absolutely.
I'm just gonna throw it in there. I'm gonna go Braves winning it all.
Against who? Beating
the White Sox.
The White Sox.
I guess not the White Sox. I'm not that much insane. I'll say the Rays. I'll give you that. But since you guys are roasting me, I'm going to have to go Braves winning it all. I'm going to go all the way offense. But we'll just have to see. I'm excited for the playoffs. But Madeline, those are really, really hot takes.
Lots to look forward to.
But that's all the time we have for tonight's show. When we return next week, we'll see if Madeline's picks actually stacked up. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for Bleacher Beat with Brandon Cruz. Take care, Ram fans, and we'll see you next week.